This review has been approved by Lord Carnage.
Banished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the Intergalactic Space Arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. That's right, bitch. It's Chuck Norris. Oh!
So there's this scene in Code of Silence where Chuck Norris walks into a bar and there's a Frenzy arcade machine behind him. Well, there's a Frenzy arcade machine behind me, and I'm holding a Chuck Norris video game for the Atari. So it's like Chuck Norris Day in outer space. Happy Chuck Norris Day.
Yeah, what direction should I take? We'll go, whoa, watch your head, Chuck.
Whoa! How does Chuck Norris have his own video game, yet Jean-Claude Van Damme does not?
You do not defeat Chuck Norris in his own video game. Chuck Norris defeats you.
As part of a Zonox Double Ender game cartridge for Atari 2600,
Oh, snap!
released in 1983, this is Chuck Norris Super Kicks. Starring martial arts superstar, infomercial specialist, and Walker, Texas Ranger, Chuck Norris! As you can clearly tell by the blonde hair, that's Chuck Norris.
Oh, did you see? I jumped over his head and kicked him. Yeah! I'm like Luke Skywalker with a beard.
Needless to say, I've had a great time playing this game. First of all, I'm a huge fan of Chuck Norris. And my favorite Chuck Norris movie is either Missing in Action 1, Missing in Action 2, Code of Silence, Delta Force, Invasion USA, Way of the Dragon, The Octagon.
Oh, right in the ass.
Oh, hell, they're all my favorite, except maybe Sidekicks. But this game is actually way better than I expected, because I expected it to be god-awful. Instead, I found it to be an entertaining and extremely ambitious Atari 2600 game.
I have made it to the dojo or whatever.
What you do is simple. You kick ass as Chuck Norris because that's what Chuck Norris does.
Rambo is a bitch compared to Chuck Norris.
That's really an unfair comparison. So you go on this adventure as Chuck Norris, even though the real Chuck Norris would use either a fan boat or a helicopter to get there. But this is like video game Chuck Norris.
This is like 1,000 times better than Karateka.
And he encounters bad guys on these paths. And you have to choose paths, one of which will be blocked by a tree, which is like kryptonite for Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris cannot defeat a tree in his way, or he can't walk around it or climb over it either.
Purple shirt, brown slacks. You do not defeat Chuck Norris while wearing slacks. Let's be clear about that. What? There's a tree there too? Damn it. What's the deal? Like, Chuck Norris could easily kick down a tree. Why is a tree an obstacle for Chuck Norris? This is the man who broke the Berlin Wall. Chuck Norris fights for freedom.
So it's pretty tricky. You never know where this damn tree is going to be, and the fighting takes time to kick everyone's ass properly. You push up on the Atari controller and push the button to punch. You push down and button to kick, and you can even jump over people somehow and like kick them in the back of the head or something. It's great. While it's not an amazing game, actually it kind of is. It's really impressive for an Atari 2600 release. Very complicated, and it plays surprisingly well. For an action-packed Atari game like this, check out the backgrounds, and you want to avoid the throwing stars when you're battling the bad guys. Chuck Norris is easily defeated by a throwing star for some strange reason. After you make it through each section of the path, Chuck Norris gets some bonus points, added time, and a new colored belt.
Chuck Norris continues. I now have a green belt.
And punching and kicking people is tricky. It's like you have to choose one or the other depending on the bad guy you're fighting, and it's not clear until you start fighting them. I mean, I guess this is like real martial arts. Like Chuck Norris probably consulted in the making of this game. I'm sure he had a lot to do with this. It's very accurate.
There's no way you would still be alive after being punched by Chuck Norris.
Check out the candle effects. Castlevania totally ripped this game off. It's pretty cool. Chuck Norris, Super Kicks.
Go!
just one part of this Zonox Double Ender, sent to the show by Matt from Englewood, Ohio. Thank you, Matt.
Kick that dude's head.
This game is cool.
Come on, Chuck, channel some Van Damme here. We gotta get through this level.
I'll have to review the other game, Artillery Duel, separately. There's no way it can possibly compete with Chuck Norris. Super Kicks on Atari 2600.
Who'd win this battle? Chuck Norris or RoboCop? That would be a draw, and you know it.